And that right there is where the Pirates of the Caribbean's newest movie falls apart immediately. Not only when you see Javier Bardem and he's talking like he's got stuff in his mouth, but the fact that they brought in the kid from Gods of Egypt to be the new hero of the franchise. Yeah. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. It's May 26, 2017, yeah, Memorial Day weekend, and we have two movies to take a look at today, two of the big summer blockbusters, and neither one of them really led up to the expectations overall, especially our first movie, which is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, which is the fifth installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean series, coming 6 years after On Stranger Tides. And if you remember with On Stranger Tides, they made the main focus of that film Jack Sparrow after what he had done in the previous films, and that film unfortunately didn't work out very well. So they went back to work and tried to go back to the first installment, make it much darker than the other films in the series would do later on, and oh boy, they certainly didn't do what they were expecting to do with it. Captain Jack Sparrow finds the winds of ill fortune blowing even more strongly when deadly ghost pirates led by his old nemesis, the terrifying Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem, escapes from the Devil's Triangle. Terrifying is not in the way this film plays it as terrifying. Terrifying in a number of different other reasons that we'll get to in a little bit later on here. He's determined to kill every pirate at sea, including him. Captain Jack's only hope of survival lies in the seeking out the legendary Trident of Poseidon, which, coincidentally, Javier Bardem played King Triton in the Little Mermaid remake later on, which isn't the same role, but it's almost the same role, pretty much. A powerful artifact that bestows upon its possessor total control over the seas. So, not only that, Orlando Bloom also comes into this film, and I guess they were trying to set him up to be kind of the new Jack Sparrow, because Jack Sparrow himself really is not in this movie very much. I think after the last movie, they kind of toned it down with him overall. He's not really in here all as much, so they kind of set Orlando Bloom in this to be kind of the new Jack Sparrow, and even then, it doesn't work overall here. I mean, just let the series die already. The first Pirates of the Caribbean movie was a groundbreaking game changer for Disney because it wasn't just another Disney live-action film. It proved that Disney could make a much darker live-action film, kind of on the same basis of a bunch of other franchise blockbusters that were coming out around that time. It was something new and unexpected. But with every passing film, the series just kept getting more ridiculous, more stupider, more cornier. And here, where they try to go back to what made it work the first time around, it's just not there, man. The appeal of Pirates of the Caribbean is just dead at this point and gone. Like, they're all the same thing. I mean, Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow quickly became one of the most annoying film characters in all 5 films. And, yeah, needless to say, Javier Bardem as the villain is pretty terrible. I mean, that lisp, that speech impediment, I mean, unless that fucker is Daffy Duck or Donald Duck, and they're dueling pianos just like in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, this thing's dead on arrival. But not only that, we're really trying to make not Aladdin from Gods of Egypt into the next Orlando Bloom. And hey, we also got the girl from the Maze Runner, Kayla Scuderio. Yeah, she contributed something in here, I guess, but just nothing really. And the worst part about this is that they actually got some really good directors to come in and give this movie series some life to it. They got the guys who did Kon-Tiki, but of course, because it's Disney and they have to stick to a formula, they wouldn't let them do the same thing that made Kon-Tiki the great movie that was, and instead just made another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which feels like it was directed by Disney themselves, the studio themselves, instead of the actual people they got involved to make the film. I mean, it literally does feel like that when you watch this movie. Like, if you saw Kon-Tiki, you do not see those same elements that made that movie great in this film whatsoever. Nor do you see it in the movie that they got one of the other directors to make later on down the road, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. But, I think... I'm trying to remember if this guy also did a movie I liked from Disney that they did just recently. Yes, he did. This guy was... I mean, later on down the road, Disney would actually let this guy actually make a good movie that feels like the same thing from the director of Kon-Tiki, which was Young Woman in the Sea, which featured Daisy Ridley in it, which is a really good movie, and one of Disney's more underrated films they had done. Underrated because they didn't really make a big push out of it to sell it to theaters. They only put it out in limited release. It was originally supposed to be a Disney Plus release in general, but they put it out in theaters in a limited theatrical release in general. It's never been released on physical media before. It's out on Disney Plus, so if you could find it out there, I would highly recommend checking that one out, because that's where you see this director and what he's capable of working out in a movie that actually is very good in general. Not in a movie like Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, like I said, man, this movie really suffers because it's a film where it's trying so hard and so desperately to try to keep this franchise alive, and there's just nothing left in the tank for it. It's like what we just had with the Alien movie from the week before. Like, it's been done with, man. Just like, there's nothing really new that you can do with this. I know they've been trying to get one more Pirates of the Caribbean movie with Margot Robbie off the ground, and they haven't been able to do that because the demand clearly isn't there anymore. I mean, it's just not worth it at this point. There's no point in doing another one of these films because nobody is really going to see these movies, and for the right reasonings, because they're just the same movies over and over and over again. They're not doing anything unique. They're not doing anything clever. They're just doing the same thing that's been done before, and making it even stupider when you have bad villains like the one played by Bardem in this. It's a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie. It should be the end of the Pirates of the Caribbean series, but you know how Hollywood is. I'm pretty sure we're going to get another one of these movies down the road here. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if come August at D23, they announced Pirates of the Caribbean 6 is coming in 2029 or 30 or something, but it's going to happen. Watch, but so yeah, there's Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. So let's go ahead and move on to the other big new release this weekend. One I was actually really looking forward to because they had a really good cast. It felt like they were selling the movie on the right note. You know, trying to do what they did a couple years ago with 21 Jump Street. And let's just say that Baywatch didn't quite necessarily ready that mark.
Ready to do this? Hell yeah. Whoa, whoa, what are you wearing? Freedom. That's desecration.
Next thing you know, they'll have a big professional sporting event happening on the lawn of the White House, and oh yeah, that's going to happen by the time you guys see this tomorrow. By the time you guys see this, which will be tomorrow, the whole UFC freedom fight on the White House lawn, which is really just a thing for Trump's birthday in particular. Even though they're going to sell it as a celebration of America's 250th. Yeah, we know what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if this is successful. They start planning for a September 11th, 25th anniversary event on the burial of the World Trade Center. You know the UFC would probably do that, but anyway, getting off subject here, obviously, but Baywatch. This is, of course, the movie version of the popular 1980s, late 80s, early 90s syndicated TV hit that starred David Hasselhoff and launched the careers of people like Carmen Electra, Pamela Anderson, Yasmin Bleeth, and was mostly known for beautiful-looking lifeguards running in slow motion, and you know, it was what it was. I mean, it was the 1990s. It was one of those. It was back in the time when you could still get away with stuff without people making such a big deal out of it. And I got what they were trying to do here, and I was really actually looking forward to this in particular, especially because of the cast they got involved in, and also the fact that you had an idea that sounded pretty cool and pretty fun. Dwayne Johnson stars as devoted lifeguard Mitch Buchanan, who butts heads with a brash new recruit played by Zac Efron. Together they uncover a local criminal plot, the criminal being played by Priyanka Chopra, that threatens the future of the Bay. And at the time, this movie got the cold shoulder right away from that first trailer. It never is one of the biggest problems with the movie in general, which you see with a lot of movies, is that the marketing never really made the movie seem like what the movie should have been like, all the way up to those first reviews that were coming out, which at the time were not very good. I think when I did my review, it was up to like 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Many people were calling it one of the worst movies of the year, so naturally, this was a movie I went into with a lot of trepidations and thinking to myself, okay, I gotta prepare for this to be bad, because it probably will be bad. So I went into it, and I can fortunately tell you that the movie was nowhere near as bad as people made it out to be. In fact, I would be willing to go as far as to say it's an okay movie. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just okay. it's a decent comedy. I think the cast overall is really good. I like the fact that Dwayne Johnson once again proves that charisma and charm that he has that can save a film. He's so committed to the role here, and it seems like he's having the ball with this. I mean, I like that Zac Efron is great playing this even douchier Ryan Lochte like character. Which, keep in mind, this was around the time when Ryan Lochte made that fibbed that story about getting mugged in Rio during the 2016 Olympics. And I like the fact that this movie was willing to have Zac Efron play an even douchier version of that guy in particular. And he's very good in it. He works very well in here. I thought the ladies overall here were really good. Not only Alexander Daddario, who I thought was really good, but you got people like Kelly Rohrbach as CJ, who was actually one of the big surprises, actually giving her something to do. Ilfresh Hadera, who plays the character that Stephanie Holden was in the series, is overall really good. And I thought Priyanka Chopra was really good as the over-the-top villain here. She is having a lot of fun with this role, and she does a good job coming off as threatening by not really showing too much of her evil side. And this is a movie that's supposed to be a straightforward comedy and not something to be taken seriously, so maybe that was the joke. Maybe you have to go into this with kind of a straightforward, straight man approach to it, or in this case, straight woman, but even characters I thought were going to be really annoying, like John Bassett's Ronnie character, he was surprisingly not as bad as I thought he was going to be. He does have a couple of nice moments in here. He is a generally likable character, and I do like that he and CJ actually do have kind of a legitimate chemistry to it, and not just having them be friends with her because of his low self-esteem and all that. Like, I like that. I kind of thought that was a really cool idea to have that in a movie like this. There were times when I did laugh pretty hard, several times, and the movie definitely knows that it is stupid for the most part. But then again, there are moments in this where it is kind of like, there are some negatives to it. Like, for example, the plot is very much simply taken from the Jump Street movie. You can tell that this is Paramount's answer to the 21 Jump Street movies, which are great. Those are great films. And there are definitely points where you could easily pinpoint several elements taken from Jump Street. You would think with how long that movie had been in development, this would have taken time to develop kind of an original satirical script, but it's just like, no, we're just going to do what Jump Street did. And as much as I like the characters in here, there were some pointless characters, like Hannibal Buress as a character in here that really does not serve a purpose in this movie. He's never fully realized. When he shows up, he does something in this film doing something different than before. You keep wondering if somebody had edited out some scenes with him in it. You got Rob Hubble playing kind of the jackass police chief. I mean, that felt like a role that should have been written for Bill Paxton. And when they couldn't have got him, they got Hubble instead. And they basically just told him, hey, do what Paxton would have done. And not to mention, most of the cops in this movie are just basically jackasses for no reason. It's just, they scold the Baywatch because you're supposed to watch the beach, not the crime scenes. It's like, there's no real reasoning behind it. They're just doing it to be straightforward jackasses. And for a movie that was promising a raunchier version of the TV show, there was a noticeable lack of raunchy humor, except for showing more male penis in this. I mean, for a movie based on a TV show known for its beautiful, big-boobied women, and the fact that they move in slow motion, there is a noticeable lack in this movie. But that leads into the biggest insult that this movie does to the TV show. Of all the things you're going to carry over from the TV series, where's the theme song? I mean, out of all the things from the original Baywatch to cut out of the movie, you cut out the most important thing that people remember most besides the slow motion and the beautiful women, the theme song. That theme song is just as iconic as the show itself, maybe even more than the show itself is. And the movie, for some reason, decides not to show it. They don't include it. They don't even open with a theme. It just would have been the perfect place to put that theme song in there, but no, here's just a bland CG-heavy opening. I can honestly see why people wouldn't like this movie, because it's like this movie was afraid of making fun of the iconic stuff about Baywatch itself. The fact that they couldn't even include the theme song, how do you omit an important aspect of the show? I mean, granted, yeah, we got David Hasselhoff coming back in a cameo in this, but I mean, really, you missed out on a major opportunity by having that theme song in there. It's just like, how do you not include that in there? Like, I mean, I would say they probably couldn't get the licensing rights to it, but they got the rights to Baywatch. I mean, what the hell? Like, but I guess to say that it's a movie that, I guess to be honest, this movie wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. It's not a classic movie. It's a film that certainly beats the hell out of a lot of the shitty R-rated comedies we've gotten recently, and some that were to come this summer. Like Girls Trip, I thought was going to be a terrible movie from the trailers I saw from it, but that one actually turned out to be really good. Rough Night looked like a bad movie, and to be perfectly honest, was a bad movie, but we'll save that for a couple weeks' time. But if they weren't all afraid to go all out with it and make fun of every aspect of Baywatch there is, you maybe would have had something that was as good as 21 Jump Street was. But as it is, it's fine for what it is. If it comes on TV in a couple of years' time, watch it there. But it's not one of those movies that I'm going to watch repeatedly over and over and over again. Yeah, it's just a film that I felt like was a wasted opportunity. Was an opportunity that was really missed out on. But you really did feel like there was more to the table that they could have thrown on there. But I guess as it is, it's fine. Not something terrible, but not something great either. So there you go. That's Baywatch for you. And that's with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. We'll begin the month of June off with at least 2 solid movies overall. But even though one of them is a movie that got screwed over because of its releasing date, we'll get to that in just a second. But we have Wonder Woman starring Gal Gadot in it, coming off of her big success in Batman v Superman. They give her her own movie, and it turns out to be the movie that finally gives the DCEU an edge over something like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we'll take a look at that. And then we'll take a look at the DreamWorks movie that got screwed over because Fox decided to give the Boss Baby a much more primer spot to make money, and then throw Captain Underpants under the bus because, well, we don't know if there's going to be a huge demand for Captain Underpants. Just like, it doesn't matter. You're DreamWorks. You could sell this movie because of your name. We'll talk about Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, a film that I feel like really should have gotten much better, a much better release date than the one that it got. But we'll save that for tomorrow here on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. Wonder Woman and Captain Underpants. With all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care. Bye.